Hello and welcome to All Things Rex Worldwide Live. I'm your host, Rex Sikes, and today I am so thrilled to have two powerhouse people. You know, one for sure. He's iconic, he's legendary, and it's Mr. Les Brown, who has rocked this world by inspiring people all over the world for decades. And he's the author of many books and videos. You know, I am so pleased and honored to have him here. And JB Owen, who works with Les in terms of publishing new books and new opportunities that you're going to want to absolutely stay tuned and listen to, because not only that, Les has a special surprise, a special, really a rocking gift for somebody who's possibly watching this show right now. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring on Les Brown right now, and here you are, sir. How are you today?
I'm great. And I want to just say thank you for who you are and how you're showing up, and particularly for Life on Your Terms. That's a powerful book that impacted me and people that I've shared it with. They call me and say, thank you. I say, well, thank Rex because he's a bad dude up in here, up in here. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and to all of our viewers. I am so pleased that we could make this not just a special show, but a special show for the holidays, because after Thanksgiving, obviously, we have Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa and other holidays, and then the New Year. So we're kind of ringing in the New Year with Les Brown and JB Owen, and I can't think of a better way to do than to do that. And so thank you, and thank you for being here. Les, before we bring JB on, I want to ask you, because I think it's such a powerful story, and so many people know it, but for those who don't, I want to ask you to share something. And for those who have heard it, I know they like to hear it again. But one of the stories from your life that you talk about is how you went from a practicing DJ in your bedroom to an actual DJ, and how that started your career off in that area. Because this is just a true testimonial of what you can do when you put your mind to it.
And thank you very much. You know, we have a brand new book called Ignite the Hunger in You. And all of us have moments that will ignite the hunger in us to do something with our talents, abilities, and skills. And I wanted to get involved in radio. And I told a person who I went in his room looking for a friend of mine. And he said, young man, go to the front of the room and work this problem out for me. And I said, sir, I can't do that. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, do it anyhow. And I said, I can't, sir. And the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's DT. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. And he asked, what's DT? And they said, he's the dumb twin. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And Rex, that shocked me. You know, that book that you wrote, Life on Your Terms, what it does is, and the book that we've written, Ignite the Hunger in You, it distract, dispute, and inspire how people live their lives as a result of the story they believe about themselves. And it disrupted the vision that I had of myself, the story that had been spoken to me and I bought into. And that hunger, I wanted to become a DJ, and I went to the radio station and I volunteered. And one day, one of the disc jockeys, he got a little tipsy. He was drinking while he was on the air, and I was the only one there. And I was looking at it through the control room window, saying, drink, rock, drink. And finally, the general manager called and said, Rock can't finish his program. I said, I know. He said, call one of the other DJs to come in. I waited for about 20 minutes. I said, I can't find nobody. He asked me, he said, do you know how to work the controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, go in there and segue the records, but don't you say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I called my mama, my girlfriend, Cassandra. I said, y'all come out on the front porch and turn on the radio. I'm about to come on the air. And so I went in and got old Rock out of the way. I got behind the microphone. I said, look out, this is me, LB Triple P, Les Brown, your platter playing papa. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single, love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction and a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. Yeah, so that moment ignited in me a drive, a determination, a fiercelessness to do what I love to do. And that's to help people, to entertain people, to make them feel good, to get out of their head and to get into their greatness.
Wow, that is amazing. And you are so powerful, and that is such a wonderful example of what you can do, when you have that fire ignited in you, and when you are, manifesting through a powerful mindset and not letting things detract you. We have somebody who wants to ask you a question. We also have somebody who just really wants to say that you've been an inspiration to her for many years. This is Cosette Leary. And during many of the hardest years living in poverty, Les was a huge motivator for me to never quit and to keep believing in my power, in the power of my story. So she says, thank you, Les. And that's Cosette Leary.
Yes. To God be the glory. I'm so glad to been able to speak in a way in that you can hear me and discover the greatness in you.
And we also have a question coming your way. So if this person is Michael and said, may he ask a question? So Michael, if you'll type your question, we'll bring that up in just a second. Les, so let's talk a little bit about, let me bring her on. Let me bring on JB too. And JB's known as the Pink Billionaire, and she's a powerhouse in the publishing world and in helping other people. And together you are doing some incredible work. So let me bring her in. And JB, would you say hi too? And
well, good morning to two of the most amazing gentlemen in this beautiful morning. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. Pleasure to be here. So delighted. Thanks, Rex, for having me. And let's just love that story. Love that story.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's just get right into it so that people know, because scrolling on the bottom, is the website ignitethehungerinYou.com. So can you tell us right up front about that and what you're doing with the book that you're publishing and all else?
Yeah, we are so delighted to bring this book to everyone because we believe that right now, more than anything, it's ignite moments that bring us together in humanity, because each and every one of us has these powerful ignite moments that transform us and change us and inspire us. And the amazing thing is many, many millions of people and all of the scrolling and chats that are coming in prove it, that Les Brown has ignited so many people's lives. So it's just absolutely normal and just brilliant idea for us to partner together to create this book called Ignite the Hunger in You, because Les's passion for igniting hunger is so infectious. And so we created this book, Ignite the Hunger in You, telling 35 stories of amazing individuals having ignite moments, with Les Brown being their inspiration.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So how does that work? You get these authors together, they tell a story, and they share inside this book. So I mean, let's talk about how the reader benefits, because this is truly an ideal situation. You're not just hearing one voice, you're hearing all these voices. So
I'm so glad, Rex, you said that, and pardon me for interrupting you, because this is not just a read. This is an experience that people who've already read the book, they're going through it a second and third time, because it ignites something in you. The book, because of the stories that people share, it takes you to a place inside yourself that you can't go by yourself.
Oh, what happened to Les?
Oh, sound looked like a battery thing. I will. Oh, there he is.
There you are. You're back. Can we? But we can't hear him at the moment. All right, so we'll get that fixed. Hopefully, I'm going to bring you on. I'm going to bring you up.
I'll share a little bit more about how the Ignite, when Les was saying this stories take you to the next place. And to answer your question, Rex, how does the stories benefit the reader? Well, the interesting thing is we all can relate to the experience of the human condition of perseverance and dedication and determination. And so when you read a story about somebody else who's been through a very difficult time and you see the steps that they took to get through that, and you learn the golden nugget and the silver lining at the end of the story, it's very, very much inspiring. People really tend to love the hero's journey. And so for many of us, there's that pivotal point, that ignite moment, where you take the villain or the victim stage, or you decide to take the hero's journey. And when the reader can just immerse themselves in someone else's experience and say, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. If they did it, I can do it. Then it really helps move the needle. And I think that many of us, no matter where you live, no matter what country you're in, what color you're in, what gender you are, what your economic status is, you can relate to that human condition of that hero's adventure through life, through all the things that unfold and happen for us. And so this book is filled with powerful stories. We have stories of people at the moment before taking their life, people being homeless, people being penniless, people losing a child, people just being at that pivotal moment where they needed something more. They needed that experience, that hunger in them to step forth so that they could decide that they were going to take their life to the next direction. And many of them heard Les Brown's voice in a video, in a YouTube, from a stage. They read something, they saw him in a way that transformed them, that awakened something in them to say, my life is worth it. This is important to me. I'm going to go after my greatness. I'm going to elevate my hunger and do something powerful and inspirational and change my life in a way that, well, absolutely, what I like to say, ignites humanity. And Les and I have worked together very, very passionately on this book with the other authors and with you in mind, because we want this book to benefit you, the reader, the person that's going to read the stories. And we've had many people read Ignite books. We have 17 Ignite books out in the market. You can see them, but Ignite the Hunger in You is the one where people are saying, like, I stayed up all night reading that book, or, I had to call my neighbor to come and cook dinner for my kids because I couldn't stop reading the book. And so it's that book that really grabs you and speaks to the soul and really ignites the heart in you. And so we're super, super proud of it. And we'd love for each and every one of you to enjoy it.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. That's so very, very cool. Now we're getting a lot of comments. I mean, almost more than I can handle over here. And people are interested. One has asked a question of how he can work with Les. Others have said, "Oh my gosh." Steph Elliott, I think, said, "Hey, I am." She's saying hi to you, and that she's so pleased to be inside the book. So this is all very, very, very wonderful. We're still trying to get Les back, apparently, and. So when it comes to not just inspiring people, what can people do? What is some advice, some suggestions, some tips that you've learned through all of the years of doing what you do that people can do to help transform their lives? I mean, yes, they can read books and they can do seminars and get coaching and mentoring, which is all incredible. But as we go into the holiday, and sometimes holidays, especially in this day and age, might be fraught with some family difficulty or some family love. What can people do to really just go in powerfully, go in with passion and go in with love, and know that they're moving forward and transforming their lives in positive and powerful ways?
Yeah, great question. Well, one of the things I am all about taking action. Action equals results. And so each and every author has written an action step at the end of their chapter. And so they list out and really describe some of the steps they took incrementally and consistently so that they move towards the thing that they wanted. So there were so many, 35 stories, 35 or more action steps. But what I would share with your listeners, and you may enjoy this, it's called 10 minutes to transformation. It's one of my action steps. See, each and every one of us can find 10 minutes. You can find 10 minutes to work on your website, 10 minutes to do self-development, 10 minutes to get on the treadmill, 10 minutes to spend time with your kids. 10 minutes is doable. It's manageable for all of us. We can put that in our mind and be like, I can do 10 minutes. The interesting thing is we hit what I call the resistance barrier. That part of us that is like, I should stay safe. I should stay at home. I shouldn't do too much. I shouldn't move around. And it comes from the reptilian brain of like when we were back in the cave, we didn't want to leave the cave because it was safe. We didn't want to move too much because we didn't want any other predator to see us on the savannah. So the truth is, encoded in us is this resistance barrier to not take action, to not do anything, to not move out of our comfort zone. But when you can push past the resistance barrier with the notion of 10 minutes for transformation, I can do anything for 10 minutes. You absolutely move yourself into action, into movement, into getting hungry for something. And 10 minutes turns into 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 40 minutes. And before you know it, you've accomplished a lot towards your goal.
Well, that's fantastic. Les, can you hear us? Can we hear you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, you're back. Fabulous. Okay, I'm going to make a request to the people who are in the chat room. Please don't have a conversation between yourselves. Please leave those that chat for comments on what our guests are speaking and or questions. Now, we have a couple questions for Les already, so if you don't mind answering a couple questions while we're live here.
You know what I want to address, though?
Yes, please.
The interruption. It came out of nowhere. That's what we're going through right now. That life is full of interruptions. And what we have to do is that we have to transform ourselves to accommodate those interruptions. Because Elsie Robinson said something that's very important. He said, things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. How are you going to deal with it? How are you going to address it? What are you going to do? Are you going to just panic and focus on what happened? Or are you going to look for ways in which you can begin to resolve that and get back into what you were doing? Because life is full of interruptions. Things happen to you and things happen to people that you care about. Millions of people are out of here and their family members and friends have to deal with that and keep it moving. Keep finding ways to win. And if you can't find a way, then you create a way. That's what life is about. My favorite book says, think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might. You will have tribulations. You will have disruptions. Things are going to happen that will catch you on the blind side that you didn't see coming. And that's called life. And that's what Ignite the Hunger in You is about. How to handle that. How to deal with that, how to respond to that rather than just react and panic and start running scared. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and of love and of sound mind. And you can't be in a sound mind when you're running scared. Can you feel a brother up in here, up in here?
Oh, Rex, you're muted. Thank you. Beautiful, Les. I just love listening to you, and you're so correct in all the things that you say. Up in here.
Awesome. That's so beautiful and so powerful. I appreciate that. Somebody asked the question, and I want to get back to that for you. And this may lead you into a slightly different area, but let's find that. This is Michael Lohman, who said he loves you. I'm hungry. I want to work with you. How do I do that? How does someone work with Mr. Les Brown here?
They can email me at coachmelesbrown.com. But more importantly, I'd like for people who are interested seriously in how they can take their lives to the next level. I'd like for them to really reach out to JB Owen. JB, give them the website that they can come to us, because we're set up to receive them, to communicate with them, because our goal is to do basically three things that people need right now. Number one, this book, Ignite the Hunger in You, it helped people to build mental resolve. That's what people need right now. People having meltdowns, and because we're not built for this. We've never gone through anything like this before, where you're going out in public and you can swap air with someone and it can cost you your life. Now, it's one thing when somebody's breath smells so bad, it's kicking like Bruce Lee, but to die, come on now. Okay. So to build mental resolve, because people are fearful and anxious and feeling hopeless and powerless. The next thing is it creates a thirst in what you need to do, who you need to be in and out of the pandemic. What are you willing to learn? If you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. But if you're willing to learn, and this is what Ignite the Hunger does, no one can stop you. It helps you to become unstoppable. And the third thing, which is major, we're building a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. This is no time to try and do life by yourself. I'm with a friend of mine that's helping me do this. I don't have the technical skills to do this. I speak, I train speakers, but when it comes to technical stuff, I got 3 good working 8-tracks. My children trying to sell them on eBay. It ain't happening. I'm keeping them. Can you feel it, brother? Up in here, up in here. I love my 8-tracks. Because millenniums, they don't know anything about that. So you got to have people that have skills, that have knowledge, that will support you, that will help you, and you help them, that will be there for you. This is a very challenging experience that we're going through in this thing called life. And having collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, having mental resolve, and having a book like Ignite the Hunger in You that gives you a blueprint on what you need to do to live your life into this new space where we are.
That is totally wonderfully and beautifully said. I so appreciate that. And normally I have a producer here, and I don't have one today. And so I'm scrambling.
You're doing a good job, and I want to share with Michael.
Scrambling back and forth between the comments and everything, trying to figure out what's going on and who's saying what. And that's why I keep asking people not to have a conversation, because it's very difficult for me to read them, and to get the pertinent ones to you guys so that you can answer the questions. But a lot of the comments are that they're just absolutely loving both of you at this time, and that the message that you're delivering is truly, truly powerful. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I would love to answer Michael's question, because Les is so graciously putting time towards a summit in regards to this book. And all of the other authors also are going to be sharing on a 3-day summit that we're doing in December. And again, go to ignitethehungeringyou.com. But here's the thing. If you want to work with someone like a legend like Les, you've got to do the work. And Les has really taught me that, to do the work, put in the time, make the effort. And so we'd love to invite you. The tickets are free to come to the summit. It's a 3-day event where you absolutely get to hear author after author after author share what they've learned from Les and the things that he has really instilled in them about creating that hunger in their life. And that's how you get started, by taking that action. So we invite you to be a part of that. We would love for you to be there. And you get to see Les. You get to see Les sharing all of his wisdom and his greatness.
Do you happen to have the website that you can give, or contact? What do they do to get to the summit?
Yep, ignitethehungeringyou.com has the book information. It also has the summit information, so you can get everything you need to know there. And then, of course, we have a special gift for everyone. I would love to share that for people who are listening. Again, Les, I've talked with him so many times, and one of the amazing things about him is creating legacy and building up people and helping them with their brand. Here's a man who's been for decades growing his voice and his greatness, and he's at that amazing place in his life where he wants to help others. And I think it's so incredible that Les is inspiring other people to step into their greatness. And so one of the things in conjunction with this book, I know we haven't mentioned it, is that all the proceeds of this book are going towards building a school of hope in Cambodia. And so Les and I are so passionate about taking all of the downloads and all of the proceeds and everything that you do when you download a book from Amazon or from Barnes & Noble or from our website. All of those funds go towards building a school of hope in Cambodia, because Les and I are so passionate about building literacy and igniting possibilities and greatness and hunger in those that need it most. So if you go to mentorwithles.com, I don't know if the producer can put that up, every person who downloads a book and uploads the receipt is entered to win coaching, an opportunity to coach one-on-one with Les Brown. And I think that's phenomenal. Thanks, Les, for doing that as a contest to get people in that triple win. You download the book, you get the book, you upload the receipt, you get a chance to mentor with Les, and every one of those dollars for the book goes towards building bricks for the school. So thank you so much for you guys' support and contribution.
Well, and that's truly amazing and truly wonderful. And I'm going to encourage people who are watching live, They've got the information. It's on the screen right now. In the second half of the show, it may not be as prominent, but they can always go back, rewatch. And I encourage everyone to share this, whether they're watching live or the replays. Go ahead and share. Make it available to your friends and your families. Put it in your groups, on your pages, wherever you're able to share this. And let people know that, one, you have an opportunity to mentor with Les, or have Les mentor you. And that's an opportunity. And also this powerful book and the powerful summit that's coming up. I also want to point out that Les was part of a recent summit that was hosted by the Los Angeles Tribune and a marvelous person, Adora Evans. And that was the New Psychology of Winning tour that was celebrating Dennis Waitley. And Les, you were a major part of that. And we're so glad to have you at that summit as well. And JB, you were there too. We had a panel discussion and different things that were going on. So can you tell us a little bit, because you and I were talking about Dennis a little while ago. Can you tell us a little bit more about that summit and your experience there with the New Psychology of Winning Tour 21?
Well, Dennis Waitley has been an icon in this industry for years. I remember reading in The Psychology of Winning, people form habits and habits create futures. He's been a voice of influence in my life. He's been talking for years about something that we're experiencing now, that we're moving into an age of high tech, but he also believes that we cannot neglect high touch, that we must continue to build relationships with our family members, our friends, and the people that we serve. And so this was a very special moment for me. Dennis in the 80s right now, but he doesn't look it. And Dennis can rap. I can't rap. Okay. I said, no, he didn't. So I loved it too. This man who has such an impact in helping me to transform my life. I was born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida, as you know. And I'm a foster kid. Then we were adopted. And I was labeled educable mental retarded in the 5th grade and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade and failed again in the 8th grade. But because of the passion that I developed, I'm going with my mother to work on Miami Beach, and she worked for wealthy families. And one of the families she worked, the Swiderski, he had the book, The Psychology of Winning. And I had a chance to get that book and to read it and to listen to Dennis's voice and to be able to meet him face to face and we talk. Oh man, that was really special. That was on my bucket list, and it was a great experience being with him and sharing time with him. Turn your microphone on. You need your technician.
It's all beyond me here, Thank you for that. It was remarkable to see two legendary icons meet and talk, and to just have a really nice conversation together. Kind of a behind the scenes, fly on the wall peek at two great men doing what they do and sharing those experiences with each other. And I should say that summit also is, I believe it's still available. I know that people, register free, and there's a VIP upgrade, and that the content is available forever. So that's part of history of you two meeting. It'll stand the test of time forever, and we're really excited about that here at the Tribune. What I'm going to do now is we're going to take a break for about a minute, and then we'll be right back. But I'm so happy to be hosting this show, made available by the Los Angeles Tribune and Mr. Mo Rock. And so I want to thank them and acknowledge them right here and now. And to all of my audience, we'll be right back. You're with the amazing Mr. Les Brown and Ms. JB Owen. What a day, what a day. And there is a fire within you and greatness, and we'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We have earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And we are back. Welcome back. And there's a Tyra Good, who is also part of the book, and she's sharing the website there for you all as well. So that's awesome. I appreciate that. So let's go back a little bit, because we've been talking about this book, the opportunity for 35 people to write a book with you, the benefit that the readers will have as a result of reading from 35 different voices, and the fact that the proceeds go to a charity, which is a school in Cambodia. So how did you bring this about? How did you two intersect to make this happen?
Well, I had reached out to Les numerous times because I thought, if I'm going to do a book about igniting greatness and igniting hunger in people, who other than Les Brown, who I have listened to for years and has been an inspiration to me to move me out of some of the darkest, most difficult times. And so Les was just a perfect person to connect with. And I will tell your readers, this story is a little interesting. I got a phone call on my phone, and it was like an unlisted number, and I didn't know who it was. I thought it was an unsolicited call. So I picked up my phone with a little bit of a sassy attitude. I'm like, hello. And they're like, is this JB Owen? I'm like, yes, who's this? And they're like, will you please hold the call for Mr. Les Brown? And immediately I had to change my attitude. I'm like, yes, of course I will. And Les came on the phone and spoke with me and shared that he had got my proposal and he thought it was a great idea. And I be available for Facebook Live in about 10 minutes to interview me? And I said, absolutely. And this is a testament to be ready when something knocks on your door. Be ready for those ignite moments that happen. I said yes to Les, and the producer came on and said, don't mention anything about the book, because we haven't, planned everything out yet. Nothing's solidified 100%. So don't mention the book. I got on the Facebook Live, and the first thing Les said was, this is JB Owen, I'm Les Brown, and we're doing a book together. And it was all set in motion, and everything was happening after that moment. And it was beautiful and powerful. And when Les and I talked about the magnitude that this book could make by touching the lives of millions and millions of people, we knew that we wanted to do something special. And so the Classroom of Hope organization builds schools in Cambodia. And we knew that building a school to help literacy and help kids that needed it most would be a very, very a good thing for the author and for all of the readers to know that there is an initiative behind not just igniting lives, but igniting humanity.
Wow, that's really cool. Now we have another celebrity author here, a completely different book, The Accidental Gangster, Mr. Ori Spado, who's going to be with JT Fox in Florida, December 5th, West Palm Beach. He says, see you there. And I don't know if he means see you there, the people who are watching, or see you there, Les Brown. So I just don't know. But if any of our viewers have, that will be a powerful event. I know, and I love Ori Spado. He's just an amazing man and an awesome gentleman. So what I would encourage people to do, if you have some questions for Les, to please put them in the chat. Keep them short so that we can see them and bring them up, and we'll be happy. I assume that Les and JB would be happy to answer those questions.
I would love to share that, Les has an incredible ignite moment that happened to him during this book process. I don't know, Les, if you want to share your amazing ignite moment that happened while we were writing the book.
Yes, I met my birth family. I'm adopted. And my oldest son, here I am in my 77th year on the planet. My oldest son did a search and found my birth parents. And for the first time, I saw a picture of my birth mother, Dorothy Bell Rucker, and my grandmother, and only to discover that my birth mother was a motivational speaker and educator, and my grandmother was a motivational speaker and educator. She was friends with Eleanor Roosevelt and Mary McLeod Bethune, and they have the Beulah Rucker Museum in Gainesville, Florida. And so to connect with two brothers that I did not know I had, and the rest of my cousins and nieces and nephews, I'm still processing it. Here I am in my 77th year, but there's some things in life that you don't know they're missing until you find them. And it's been quite an experience. When something new happens to me that's major, and this is major, always ask, what am I supposed to do with this? And what I realize that what I've done is only a tip of the iceberg of what my birth mother and grandmother did. They taught people how to read at a time when we were not allowed to go to school in the United States. And so I have to finish strong. I got to kick it up several notches. I'm in overtime, but I got to continue to go strong. I feel like a 35-year-old man trapped in a 77-year-old body. So I'm working harder, and I'm so glad to be with JB, who is really a major publisher and helping people to get their stories out and on the New York Times bestseller list. And I get to meet people like yourself that helping people to live their lives on their terms. And to me, it's about living full and dying empty. All of us, I believe, have built-in greatness. We were born and designed to win, but we've been programmed by circumstances, our environment, to lose. And what we do is we reverse that thinking and help them to begin to realize that they're more than capable of doing the things they want to do with their lives.
Yeah, you're muted again, Rex, and I love that question there.
And I mute you. I mute you guys. I back and forth. I will be muting you because there's feedback when one of us is speaking. So that's why we're muting, and that's why I'm muting myself, in case you don't notice it while I'm talking right now. So that's why. But there's a question for you, Les, that says, Les, what was one of your most challenging moments early on when you had to dig deep and hold on to believing in yourself?
I'm so glad someone asked that question. I had to go to a place to believe that what I have experienced, what I was going through, was not going to define me. That was the most challenging moment, because I remember sending some promotional material on myself to an organization called Gunther Rinker when I saw an infomercial on television with Tony Robbins. And they responded by saying, "You are Black. And we don't believe that a Black motivational speaker will have any appeal to the American public or the world." And I remember sending them a response. I thought about it for a moment, and I said, "Thank you very much for reminding me that I'm Black. I never would have known that if you hadn't told me." I'll see you from the top. And so I just said, I don't need an infomercial. I got a voice, I got a story, and there are people who are going to hear my story. And I decided, in some of the things that I train my speakers to do, become so good in telling your story and transforming lives that you can't be ignored. And that's what the authors of Ignite the Greatness in You is about, is that find something that you're calling. A job is what you get paid for. A calling is what you're made for. And master that to such an extent that the world will embrace you, to such an extent that they will seek you out, that you can't be ignored because of the impact and the power and the passion that drives you, the hunger that makes you stand out. Can you feel a brother up in here, up in here?
Love it. Absolutely love it. That's truly, truly wonderful. Hey, I have a question for you that I hope you don't mind answering. And that is, a lot of people, when they're putting their life together and they start to think positive, and they start to, work on manifesting their dreams and having it come true, and they kind of reorganize their thinking and their feeling, and they expect, boom, it's going to happen overnight. You shared some very powerful information years ago about how you had achieved a certain level of success, but you were like sleeping in your office because you weren't able, meeting bills and things like that, that the success that ultimately came wasn't real evident right up front. I mean, even though you had kind of gotten into prominence, was still a little bit of a lag between how you lived your life and how for things to unfold and manifest for you?
Rex, you will fail your way to success. 8 out of 10 millionaires have been bankrupt. Walt Disney, I'm in Orlando. He filed bankruptcy 7 times and had 2 nervous breakdowns before he came up with Mickey Mouse. And the key is to persevere. I just received the Perseverance Award from Cancer Centers of America. I'm a 29-year 4th-stage cancer conqueror. The key, as Og Mandino, who wrote The Greatest Salesman in the World, he said, I will persist until I succeed. When I wake up in the morning, I say, all things work together for good, for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. Now, I didn't say all things will be good, but all things will work out for good if we persist, if we don't stop, if we are relentless and unstoppable, if we're willing to make the sacrifice, if we're willing to discipline ourselves, if we're willing to let go of the toxic negative energy of relationships that don't serve us and put ourselves in partnership and in a community of relationships that people who have goals and dreams that lift your spirit and build you up. And when life slaps you down, they can help you pull up. I have a saying, if life knocks you down, try to land on your back, because if you could look up, you could get up. And so Ignite the Hunger is a book that helps you to get back up and get into the center of the ring and fight for what you want. Because at the end of the day, life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, peace of mind, good health, great relationships, what you don't want will automatically take over.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Powerful. And I would follow up that awesome, I don't want to call it advice. I mean, and I don't just want to say it's inspirational, because that doesn't even do it justice, but the idea that we have to persevere, we have to persist and get through everything. I often say, the Wright brothers failed their way to success. They constantly were told by their father that they were idiots and to give it up, and that, the mainstream looked at them as completely stupid. They didn't know how to fly until after they flew. They just kept constantly failing, according to some, but getting feedback and adjusting.
Yes. Their father said if God wanted man to fly, he would have given him wings.
Yeah. I mean, imagine that. And here we're at the outer reaches of the universe as a result of a couple of bicycle makers and other people who have not given up. And you're so instrumental in that. And as we, end this year and go into the new year, people set resolutions. And, as we know, many of them will hit the gym on January 2nd or 1st. And then 3 weeks later, they'll be back on the couch, eating the chips. How do we help those people in terms of igniting that fire within and that passion to actually not quit? Is there some suggestions that you and JB?
Absolutely. Yes. Find out what turns you on. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. All of us have a sweet spot. Mine was to buy my mother a home. I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. Dorothy Bell Rucker gave me life, but Mamie Brown, she taught me how to live life. My foster mother, the lady who adopted me. And I was determined, Rex. I was determined that I was going to buy her a home to say thank you. Judge a person not by what they do, but what they do that they don't have to do. And to judge the true quality of a person is what they do when no one's looking. She did not have to take us in. 7 kids that she didn't give birth to as foster kids, and then she adopted us and she raised us single-handedly. And I just felt an obligation to say thank you by how I lived my life, and I honor her in my speeches. I used to have a talk show, and every time in my speeches, I say, this is Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. Now that I found my birth mother's picture, I said, I got 2 mothers and I'm not ashamed. I've got 2 mothers and I love them just the same. Oh, Rex, I don't want to sing, because if I sing to you, you want me to put a ring on it. So I'm not going to sing.
Well, get us wrapped and you can sing, man. I think it's, and JB, I want you to chime in too, but I think it is so amazing that you just recently discovered your birth mother, and she's essentially in the same career occupation as you are, is inspiring and motivating and helping other people, and the significant influence of you growing up was, Mrs. Mamie Brown, who helped you become the person you are today. I mean, what a great way to have two moms.
Absolutely. Mamie Brown had a third grade education. Dorothy Bell Rucker, my birth mother, she was an educator, and she graduated from Savannah State College. I'm raising funds for them. And so there are people that come into our lives that pour into us. The things that we experience in life that we feel they happen to us. But now, as I look at my life, I used to wonder, why would she give us away, Wesley? But it happened for us. Because had she not given us to Mamie Brown, I would not be the person that I am now. And I'm grateful for that. And I think that what we must do each and every day, get up and look for the good, regardless of what we're going through, regardless of what has happened to us. Look for the good. Tara Good, she decided with the life that she has lived thus far and experiences that she's had, to bring a force of goodness in the world. And we all, I think, are responsible to doing that, to be a force for goodness and all of the divisiveness and all of the hatred and all of the disinformation, to look for ways in which we can live a life that will outlive us, to create a world that our children can live in and find peace and love and turn to each other rather than turn on each other.
Wow. That is so beautiful. JB, would you like to jump in? And I also just want to remind people that the book is Ignite the Hunger Within You, and the website is scrolling so that people can get the book, but they can also take advantage of the Mentor with Less .com, which will scroll in a little bit of a moment, but actually join in a contest to win a mentor personally with. I mean, that's so just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a one-on-one coaching with the winner of this contest, whatever JB has cooked up. What is it, JB?
Yeah, they get an opportunity to coach with you one-on-one, and that is amazing. I mean, Les obviously charges tens of thousands of dollars to work with him, and so the opportunity to do that is brilliant, and at the same time help with the school, and at the same time read all the stories that are in the book. And Rex, to answer your question, Les and I have been talking so much about possibilities. When you hear him on YouTube, he always says the word possibilities. I love the whole idea of possible, and I think now more than ever, what's going on in the world, when COVID first hit, we were all waiting to see, what were we allowed to do? What could we do? What were they going to give us permission to do? And immediately I said, we have to start awakening our mind to what's possible. We need to be teaching our kids to be thinking about what's possible for them, what's possible for us to create inclusion, to help with the environment, to end world hunger. We have the mindset and the power to create things that are possible in our lives. And so that's what we need to be focusing on. And the stories in this book really spotlight that these people stepped into what was possible. And we've published 700 authors to date, all of those stories igniting what's possible. And again, this whole idea of that stories bring us together. And you asked about, what are the steps that people can take? Well, I love to say, if you want to make something possible, you need to have purpose. You absolutely need to know what it is you want to go after. Les just said his purpose was building a house for his mom. And then you've got to have the passion, the absolute, unrelenting, compelling desire to go after it, because that's going to make it happen. And then you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan, those incremental steps that are going to get you there. When we look at the big idea, when you look at publishing a book with 35 people and the end result and having a summit and it's way down the road, it seems daunting. But when you have a plan and you take it step by step and day by day and a little bit each day, I like to say if you do 1% each day, after 30 days, you've got 30% more. 60 days, you're 60% closer. 90 days, you're 90% closer to your goal. So get a plan towards moving what it is you want, and then just take it step by step by step and let that hunger boil up in you.
I am so glad that you shared that because, I don't want it lost on people. We have the Pink Billionaire here, and we have Les Brown here, and the two of you have come together to create something even more spectacular and more marvelous, and to contribute to lives not just today but down the road by creating a school and financing the school through the proceeds of the book. But one of the important things is that you're a publishing magnet. When it comes to it, you're creating this opportunity for lots of people and putting it in place, and you've partnered with Les and again built something. If you had quit anywhere along the line, we wouldn't be doing this today. We wouldn't have it, because you've persevered and because you have had that plan, which you just talked about. Can you elaborate just a little bit more, or tell us a little bit more about how you started and maintained your career, and how you guys connected up? Because you said that you reached out to Les, but let's hear a little bit about your path too, because that's a truly important and impressive story.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, I don't always consider myself a publisher because I don't just put words on a page, pages in a book, and books on a shelf. I really want people to have a transformational experience. And I think when you tell your story and you write your story, it sends you into another level of you. You see, when we all have these moments in our life, I call them ignite impact moments, where something happens to you. Somebody tells you you can't do it, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. Les told his story about what his teacher had said to him. There's this label, this story that you put yourself in. But as you go through life living that story, you come to this point, this ignite transformational moment, where you realize, like, that isn't really me. I'm not that person anymore. And I've had those moments numerous times in my life, that transformation where you say, I want to step into a greater version of myself. And I think that's the power of storytelling. And so as a publisher, I feel like we all have a story. We all have something that we need to share. And the truth is, we all deserve to be heard. Most importantly, as humans, we want to belong. And so Ignite really is about creating a transformational haven. So working with Les was ideal because Les is all about transformation. He's the leader in transformation, the #1 motivational speaker on the planet. And so it was just a partnership of dream that we could transform authors. And when we transform authors, we transform readers. And then the readers go out and we have that triple win. Reader, author, and then somebody else wins, the school wins, the kids win. And when those people win in their life, they make sure other people win around them. And so that was really the real impetus in this story about creating this transformation.
Well, as we go up to the close of our time together, because I know you both are very busy and you have other things that you need to get to as well. Let me ask you this, because we're talking about stories and about people telling their stories, but a lot of the stories that people tell themselves are not powerful stories. They're not living their dreams or their goals. They're living, a story that is less than glorious, a story that is, in some ways debilitating. And they continually tell that story to themselves or to their neighbors, or, when they commiserate over coffee about what's wrong in the world. This is an opportunity for people to actually transform their story, change their story, write the story they want, make it something other than what it was or what it might be, and make it what they intend it to be. And you're helping people discover that in so many different ways. What would you say, Mr. Brown and Ms. Owen, about rewriting your story and making history, conform to you as opposed to you conforming to your past history?
Rex, you are so brilliant. This is why you do this show. We, in this book called Ignite the Hunger in You, we empower people to become, as Mother Teresa would say, a pencil in the hand of God, and start writing a new chapter in their lives. Every story allow people to realize that what you're going through, somebody else has gotten through, and you can too. And give them the step-by-step process that will empower them to get a vision of themselves beyond their circumstances, beyond the adversities that they're experiencing. And remember the words of Mustafa in Lion King, Simba, you're more than that which you have become. And they'll realize as they go through each chapter, I'm more than this which I have gone through, and I'm ready and I'm hungry to get to the next level and to soar to new heights. Please call your technician back and get it and give them a raise because we can.
Well, Les, I just want to piggyback off of that because it is so true. Like, one of the things that you and I talked about a lot is people have ignite moments. They keep them in their story. They've had a transformational ignite moment. And then Rex, just to, again, share what you were saying, we are really inspiring people to create new ignite moments in their lives. They have the opportunity to bend reality, to shift their position, to move themselves forward towards what it is they absolutely want. And we've been stuck in our ignite moments, or we've learned from our ignite moments, but now we can create new ignite moments to get really hungry for those. And so I think that is really where we're pushing people towards, is the new iteration of them, the new evolution of them, because we are at that time in humanity where it's time for us all to make a global shift towards a better place for each and every one of us to live in.
Wow, that is truly beautiful. So I'm going to say this, and then I want you both to have the closing words. And we'll go with you, JB, and then we'll go with Mr. Brown. But that is, what a way to celebrate going into Thanksgiving, but to have both of you here and to have the opportunity to listen to you, to talk with you, to ask you questions, and to go into the holiday with just being ignited. And so I really, truly appreciate that. And when it comes to Thanksgiving, I'm truly grateful for both of your ability to influence people on the planet for so many decades and for so many countless millions of lives that you've influenced, not just in the past, but now, but the ones that are coming down the road, the children and all the people who will continue to see your works and this show long into the future. So I'm just very, very grateful that you're here and thankful for you. So before we say goodbye and part your way, I'd like to give you closing moments. And let's go with you, JB, and then we'll go with Mr. Brown.
Well, I just want to thank you. I'm so thankful for you, Rex, for letting me be here today and share with Les this wonderful moment in front of all the millions of people who are listening on the verge of Thanksgiving. This is an incredible time to be thankful, and I want to just thank you. And I also want to thank the authors who showed up and who were brave and courageous to tell their vulnerable stories and put it in a book for all the world to read, and then become the beacons of hope for others to ignite possibilities and create hunger in them. And then, Les, I just want to say to you in front of 50 million people, I love you dearly. Thank you for igniting me. Thank you for inspiring me. Thank you every day for touching my heart and just being such an incredible role model for me. It's just been such a true blessing to just hear your voice and share your spirit and be a part of this project with you. And I love you so much. Thank you.
Wow. And I love you and Peter and Rex. This is Thanksgiving, and I give thanks for the authors who decided to be transparent. I read a book once called Why I'm Afraid to Tell You Who I Am, because you might not like me, and that's all I've got. And it takes courage to be transparent. It takes courage to realize that the story that you're sitting on, as Dr. Cheryl Woods would say, somebody is waiting on. So I want to give thanks for people who have decided to live a life of contribution. Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. So all of you that are watching right now, I want to say I give thanks for you, for listening to me, for my ability to reach you and to speak into your heart, and for the time that I have left on the planet to make a difference, to live full and to die empty, and to rob this cemetery of the stories that I have left in me. You have something special. You have greatness in you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Wow, I want to thank you both so much for being here. And as we say goodbye, what I'd like you to do is hang around in the green room for just a moment, and I'll be right back as we close the show. But I'm so grateful for you and so grateful for your message, again, historically and into the future. Both amazing. You made my day special, and I know you've made and touched the hearts and minds of people listening and watching today and in the future. And I want to encourage anyone who's watching right now to go ahead and share this go ahead and comment. This is live or otherwise. Go ahead and spread it to your friends and family. Like it, subscribe to the Tribune, and just push it out there, push it forward, because you know that there are people who do need to ignite their own heart, their own work, their own minds, their own passions, as Mr. Brown and Ms. Owen have said so elegantly and wonderfully and for so long. I mean, let's take the message that people have been making available to us for many, many decades and make sure that it's heard everywhere. And with that, I want to thank both of you. You are so generous of your time and of your goodness and of your ability to help others. So with that, I am deeply humbled, and I will say goodbye to you for now. And then I want to meet up with you just a second, but we'll say goodbye officially while I close out the show. I love that. Like Inky Pinky.
Thank you, Rex.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rex.
All right. Thank you both. Thank you both. And so I hope you've enjoyed that. And as I said, I hope you will push this out and really make it available to everybody. What an amazing and a wonderful show. Do take advantage of the contest that Les is running, and mentorwithless.com and ignite the hunger within you. Get the book, or ignitethehungerinYou.com. Get the book and make sure that you do. There's so many wonderful authors. So many of them you may even know either through here or through Facebook or through the shows or through these different summits. And let's all just stay in touch that way. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you about Life on Your Terms. It is available for those who get the book at Amazon, and you take your receipt code and go to rexsikes.com/book. It's rexsikes.com/book. I am providing a bonus training. It's been valued at about $497, and I'm going to give that to you absolutely free as a bonus. All you have to do is go to www.rexsikes.com. You'll see it in my name, and then /book, and you'll get an absolutely bonus training, absolutely free bonus training. And with that, I want to say that I am so very pleased to have been here today with you on this special day before Thanksgiving. And there's my name, rexsikes.com, and then just put a / there, book, and they'll tell you how you get the free training. With that in mind, everybody, I always say, if you consider everything a blessing, everything is a blessing. So the key in life is to be grateful, fill yourself with appreciation.